Alright, my hair's all messed up because I just got out of the shower, but we're here with the Ford. We're going to be not working on this one, but all the work I'm doing is mainly for this one, such as pulling the motor in case I need a motor, and all that, and I'm going to be swapping the beds. But speaking of pulling the motor, those packages you see there is my cherry picker I just picked up. Now I don't know if that's just a southern term or maybe just a mechanic term, but I've heard some people call it shop cranes, stuff like that. I just always heard it as a cherry picker. Also, I plan on doing more videos on this 74 Camaro before too long, so if you want to see that, make sure you like and subscribe and tune in. Those videos should be coming before too long. I'm gonna hop in the truck, go get breakfast, and try to put that cherry picker together and get to work. Alright, so just a disclaimer. I do not know what the hell I'm doing. And I'm gonna attempt to do this, and I have no idea what's the right way. I'm just gonna take shit loose until it comes off. But from what I can see, it looks like you'd just take these out and it'd come out. But again, I don't know. I will put a clip afterwards if that's what you're supposed to do or not. But one way or another, this drop shaft's coming out. And then I'll be on to working in the front, taking other stuff loose. But this is how I learn. I get a truck that it doesn't matter if this truck ever moves again, because I just want the motor. So that's how I'm gonna learn. I do not advise it. If you don't know what you're doing, either find a video that shows you, or take it to a mechanic or ask a mechanic's advice. But for me, I'm just gonna pull this shit apart. I've gotten 3 of the 4 bolts out. It's a 12mm wrench. Just make sure, if you do it this way, that you are free and clear. For me, I don't care about none of this, so if this lets it loose, I'm just gonna let it fall. And then I'll wiggle it around until I can pull it out of the tail, forget the name of it, I think it's like tail shaft or something, of the transmission. And then I'll get up there and work on the exhaust, try to get it loose. Alright, so that 4th bolt got it to come loose here. Now I'm going to get out from under the truck, go around to the other side to where I can get a better angle, and try to pull it out of the transmission. Okay, I just got up here. I reached right here to feel if there's any kind of thing, and there isn't. What it is you just lift up on the back of the drive shaft, and as you do, get it straight, and just come straight back with it. It'll come out pretty easily. Now, whenever you go to pull your motor, transmission fluid, if you have any, will come out of here. So if you're in a shop, or you're somewhere that you don't want your fluid to be spilled, make sure that you let this drain first by just tilting the motor up and putting the bucket. But for me, I don't really care. It's just bare ground here, and I'll catch what I can, but I'm not too concerned with where it lands, because at the end of the day, I'm not going to be using this transmission for a while, so the fluid doesn't matter to me. I can just put a different fluid in it and all that. I'm going to have it sent off to be rebuilt. So our next thing is going to be getting the exhaust loose, and depending, I haven't really looked at it yet. So up here we have both the pipes going to there. So if I was to want to save this, I would go and undo everything it doesn't matter to me, so I'm probably gonna cut it here and over here somewhere. That way I can just pull it straight up and out and not have to worry about it. And we can come back and get all these pipes off of here later and reuse them. But for the time being, I'll just cut everything, because more than likely trying to put this in a Mustang, I'll have to get different set of pipes and everything anyways. So we'll just go ahead and get a sawzall to that. So I'll cut back whenever I have that clear. Last clip I said I was going to cut these off. Went and got the sawzall, but then I realized I have really good access to it right here. So I'm going to pull it loose right there, and then we'll check on the other side, see how hard it is to get to it. If these stupid dogs would shut up, I could make a YouTube video over here. But we'll get to those, see if we can get those off. If we can't, we'll chop it. But since it's right here, I gotta at least try it, instead of being lazy. Alright, this thing, these bolts were stuck, so I grounded that bolt off. And I got it to where I can come loose, but I can't get to that bolt to grind it off. So then I start hacking away at the exhaust and everything. I had to hack it there, had to hack it between that sensor there, and I had to hack out this piece of pipe to where I can get to the other pipe. And I just need that other pipe out, and then everything will be in the clear to pull it out, and I can do the motor mounts and all that. Well, the only blade we have here is that long. I need one about half that. So I'm gonna leave everything over here. To y'all, it's gonna look like literally the next clip. But for me, I gotta drive all the way to town and go get a different blade. So we'll do that. Probably eat some lunch, get back to it, and get this thing ready to be out of here. After a few hours of struggling, I've got the exhaust system loose. It goes to that side. This goes to the other side, so it's free. I'm just looking on the transmission and trying to see what all needs to be disconnected on it, since I do plan on pulling the trans and the motor at the same time. I'm thinking I won't even have to undo this if I just unbolt the trans from it, because I've got so much room that I may, it just depends, I may be able to work it up and forward. Not sure though, I won't know until I'm doing it, but typically to get the motor off the mounts, you have to let the transmission drop down and the motor lift up, but we will see when we get to that point. For now, try to figure out what all this stuff is and figure out what needs to be unplugged. Alright, I have no idea what they do, but there's 3 plug-ins. 2 on this side, 1 over here on this side, where that white thing is. And I believe I have everything on my transmission free, except for the cross member. So now I'm gonna make my way to the front and start working on the motor mounts and anything I need to unplug from the front. The passenger motor mount is right here. It's that bolt there. When I was under here, I also looked at the starter and unplugged this harness from it. I think I'm okay to leave the starter on there. It may end up getting hung up on stuff, but for now I'm gonna leave it on there and see. If it doesn't get hung up, that'd be good. But if it does, then I'll take it off. But for now, it's just gonna stay there. And I got some PB blaster sitting on this motor mount, and then I'm gonna try to get it loose here in a second. All right, we got one nut off. On the passenger side, it's 3/4 size, and it was concerningly easy. Like, I didn't put any pressure at all, and that thing broke loose. Which, I mean, the threads are pretty clean on the inside compared to the outside, so it could be part of the reason. But I'm gonna go to the next side, try to get it out, and we'll be taking everything off the top of the motor, unhooking all that, and do the transmission cross member, and it should be ready to pull out once I build that cherry picker. Alright, I'm over here on the driver's side. Time to see what the verdict is on it, as far as how easy it is. I may not even, yeah, that extension's gonna be in my way. We'll take that off. Damn it, stay on there. It's hard to record and do this, and be upside down. Yeah, that's not tight at all. Alright, instead of making y'all struggle, or making y'all watch me struggle to do this one-handed, I'm gonna just go ahead and get it done and pick up. On the transmission, there is this that goes to here. And you have to disconnect it there, take a nut off from here, and there's a screw here. And then you try to work it around and get it out of there if you can. This seems like it's gonna want to fight me. I may have to use both hands to get it. But that should be my last thing on the transmission. I know I done said that, but I keep finding more shit. So I'll try to get this out, and hopefully next clip I'll be up top instead of laying under this truck, because it really sucks ass. There was a line right there for this. I have it off. Going to be taking this off that goes back to the AC. I'm going to take this loose. This can stay, but I'm going to go ahead and pull it loose from here, and have to pull this ground strap loose. You got two 10mm bolts up top for your throttle cables. Then once you get it off there, you just pop it off the top like that. Move those to the side. They'll be out of the way. I've got to look over everything here, find about fuel lines and all that stuff, see what all other kind of stuff is hooked up. That was just a screw in there. I'm assuming this just pops off here, like so. Move that to the side. I'll go through everything off camera, and once I find out a little bit more, I'll pick back up and kind of show what I did. So, whoever worked on this truck before, or maybe it's from factory, I don't really know. I don't care. These lines are for the tanks. It's the fuel lines. They've used this stuff all the way through, and it's not the simplest thing to cut, and I'm not going to use anything that creates spark. So I chased it back down to where this wet spot is to kind of find out whether it actually had fuel to it or not. I pulled it from the fuel filter. Sure enough, I got completely drenched with gas. It was pressurized and everything. And I'm glad that I decided not to use power tools, because probably would have caught myself on fire. Okay, I got that one fuel line broke loose back there at the filter, and then I got the other one broke loose right there. So, unless I'm missing anything, the motor should be ready to be pulled. I just have to go under there, get a jack in position for the transmission, take the transmission cross member out, let the transmission drop just a little bit, then build my cherry picker, put it right here, hook the motor up, and pull it right out. In theory, it sounds like it's going to be good. But in reality, I'm probably going to be using a lot of cuss words for the next hour and a half. We'll see how it goes. Okay, here is the cherry picker I bought. Here's the brand, everything, a little bit of information. I'm gonna slap this crap together. I got instructions. I'm not gonna video any of it, but I'm working on this now. Then I'll work on the transmission cross member and see if I can get some help over here and get this thing out of here today. Alright, so it's been maybe an hour. I've got my jack put together. Man, was it a pain in the freaking ass. They have these, none of these bolts are labeled, and they have certain ones that have to go to certain spots. So it's pretty much put a bolt in, hold it there for a second, and then keep going until you find where that bolt actually goes. So I kept having to switch them around. And I've got it together now though. So now it's just a matter of getting that transmission cross member undone and getting somebody over here to help me. And we can try and get that thing out of there. Okay, so I'm rigging up something here. Over here, there's this. It's held on by 2 bolts, so maybe it'll hold. I'm going to a ratchet strap. There's nothing over here, so I pulled the plug out of that one, wrapped the chain around it, the ratchet up to it, and then we'll hook in the center of that to the cherry picker. Hopefully it'll hold. We've got the transmission supported. I've got to get that cross member out. Here's what the spark plug looks like. Now, I don't get why it's so black, considering that 5 years ago when I owned this truck, I put new plugs and wires on it and never drove it after. And as far as I know, it has not driven. Sorry, I'm exhausted. I've been working on this thing since 10 and it's 5 o'clock now. But it's never rode down the road since it's been changed. So I'm confused as to why they're so black. But maybe it's just from people trying to start it and it never starting. So hopefully here shortly, I will have this thing out of here. Just waiting to see if my brother shows up or not to help. I have the cherry picker in position. I have the strap tightened up a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this hood off because it's gonna get in the way whenever I try to lift up on this motor. There'll be 2 bolts here, 2 bolts on that side. They're size 10, and this hood will come off. I'm gonna do that really quick. And transmission cross member, I'll get the rest of those out. They're soaking in PB Blaster right now because they're really torqued on there. And then I just wait for some help to get here. We'll have this thing out of there, hopefully. Either that or we'll lift it up and then drop it on the frame, dent the oil pan, and all that goodness. So we'll see what happens. Okay, after fighting this thing all day long, we've got the motor up to where it's gonna clear. The transmission is attached. I'm gonna go get the 4-wheeler, and instead of trying to pull this thing, I'm just gonna pull the whole truck backwards. And we'll have our motor here. I'll bring this little trailer over here, put it under it, set the motor down on it. And that'll be good for now. We'll plug everything up. And that went better than I expected. I expected this whole fucking thing to fall by now. Not bad for a $170 cherry picker. So, that literally took all day. Had to get the four-wheeler out. Yes, that plastic's missing. I'm supposed to fix that. This motor and transmission has given me more trouble than anything I've ever freaking done. I've done tore my jack all up, snapped that wheel off. The transmission kept hitting the firewall, but at the same time, pipes that I thought I cut. This one was good. That other one was not. It was dragging along here the whole time, and the transmission was hitting there. And as we pulled the truck backwards, it was wanting to pull the whole thing backwards with it. And I don't know how I'm gonna get this thing onto that trailer, but for today I really don't care. This thing is gonna sit exactly where it is. I do not care anymore. It has been like 13 hours that I've been working on this, so I need a break from it. I'm gonna clean everything up. I'll go home, edit this video, probably upload it tomorrow. And also tomorrow, I'll be back over here probably making another video as far as cleaning all this up, trying to get it on the trailer, and I don't know what else. To make it easier to move, I might take the transmission loose from it and just leave the transmission on the ground and put the engine where I want it. But when I say something was pain, that was the worst thing I have ever done working on vehicles, because this thing says it's for 1 ton, but you can only use it as 1 ton right here, which means you have no boom length, which means the motor has to be right up against it, and trying to keep it equal weight wasn't really working, because it'd want to go to one side or the other, or the transmission would come up when I need it to go down, and yada yada yada. So I got a huge mess to clean up. I'm gonna get it cleaned up. I'm gonna go home, and I'll catch y'all on the next video.